How to know your business or project will be successful with a minimal cost and time. That's what I'm going to show you today. There's a technique. And to talk about that, I want to share a story about just after I graduated from DeVry. Now, I went to work for a guy named Mike. And Mike's, his work was, he's a cost engineer. So what that means is he's the kind of guy that goes in and designs how to execute on projects, how to build buildings, bridges, pipelines, these huge projects. So he's honed his skill over time. He's really become an international expert where large companies will come to him if there's a project that's gone off track, it's gone sideways, late, over budget. They call Mike. They fly him in all over the world, and he comes in and solves that problem. There's a crisis in management, a crisis in delivering on the execution of a project, and that's where Mike's skill is. And you know, if you look at my prior video, I was talking about passion points, and you look at Mike, and a guy like Mike, and his background is all about, you know, externally expressing that through his passion point is really being able to share the wealth and knowledge he has in that science. And what that's really talking about is an underlying desire for a competitive nature to kind of shine through, and that I think comes from his relationship with his brother. And so from all that, he's honed in, and he was one of the pioneers in what subscience in engineering called earned value. Now, earned value it's a set of techniques. It's kind of like Google Maps for big projects, right? Or any project for that matter. And so what earned value does, it kind of lets you know, okay, where are you today? Where are you heading? How are you going to get to there? And are you off track? If you're off track, how do you get back there? And all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of this methodology that's really been empirically proven time and time again for decades now. And one of the cool things that I was exposed to was that I was brought in as a developer. So I was programming, and then I was later his chief technical officer, and I got to take his theories, his scientific approaches, and turn those into software that actually resulted in real world change for companies to save millions and billions of dollars and execute on time, on budget, with a lot more clarity, a lot more certainty. And so when one of the things Mike told me was, Tim, the thing you have to remember about the earned value is it gives you insights. And one of the core insights is that if you have a project plan, you can go through, and when you execute, you get to about 15%. There's this magic point where you can say you're at 15%. And what happens is at that point, you can now decide. You can see, okay, this project is on track. It's going to land on time, on budget, and it's going to go well. But that's also the pivotal moment where you need to decide, should we stop this project entirely, or do we need to make some major course corrections? So with the earned value methodology, you're thinking you don't even need to know anything about it. But remember 15%, because if you're in your work, you're in your projects, you're in your day-to-day, you need to learn and understand that there's something about 15%, and that's why I'm going to be talking about this ad nauseum in future videos. But this is the core of it. Is earned value is going to give you that approach where if you get just to 15%, you will have eyesight onto success at the end. You will have a forecast of how that whatever that project is you're working on, whatever your business goals are, you will know if you can get there, if you've got it mapped out properly. So what are the ingredients we need to consume and use this earned value approach of 15%? Well, let's think back to it. I mentioned before that the whole idea is like Google Maps. Okay, so you say, I want to start here, and I want to go to this address. And Google's going to go through and map through and say, okay, you turn left at this road, hang it right there, go 400 meters, hang another left, and then you'll reach your destination on your left. Great. But let's say you start driving that route, and then you start going down and like, whoops, I turned right instead of left. I wasn't in the right lane. I didn't plan in advance. Oops. Now what's going to happen is route guidance is going to change and redirect you and figure out the new path so you can still get to your destination. So it's not unlike that. So what's key in that example is, first of all, you know where you started from, you know where you are, but you also know where you're going. So the path may change, and that's okay. But what you have to have is that clear vision of where you're heading to, because otherwise it's not going to be able to calculate. Say, okay, well, you turn left here. I told you to turn right, but now you're going where? You have to have that destination. And that's not unlike what I'm saying in a project or in business. You need to have a completely clear and concrete measurable vision for what your project outcome is going to be, so that you know when you've got there. If you don't have that, you'll never achieve anything. You'll spin your tires forever, and you'll never achieve success. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is you need to have a detailed plan of how you're going to get there. Turn left, turn right, 400 meters, turn left, and so you're right. Perfect. That's what you need to do in your own work, in your own business. Some of us have been in project management. We've got a methodology for a Gantt charts and tasks and all these deliverables and all that stuff. And that's a very valuable asset. But in business, it's kind of like the same thing. If we say, okay, I want to make $1 million, well, what does that mean? What does that mean, over the next month, over the next 6 months, over the next 9 months? If you don't have it mapped out, you'll never know. Like you're working towards this goal of $1 million, but are you hiking? You're walking? You're taking a bike? You're gonna go this road? You're gonna take the bike path? You don't know. So you need to have that path. So you need to figure that out. If you've got that in plan now in hand, now what you can do is you can say, okay, I can now measure my progress. I was expecting to be a block away from here in 15 minutes. Took me 12 minutes. I'm ahead of schedule. Great. Or I decided to walk instead of taking my bike. It took me 25 minutes, and I'm now 10 minutes late. Oops. So now you can adjust. You can say, okay, well, maybe I need to thumb a ride, call an Uber, whatever you need to do to make up that lost time. You see what I'm going with that? And so now what you've got at the end of the day is you got a vision. You know where you're heading to. You know a plan of what you should be at certain points along the way. You've got an approach on how you're measuring your progress along the way. So you're measuring how successful you are at the incremental steps. And therefore, if you measure at that 15% point, if 15% into your journey, you're already off track, there's no way. If you keep doing the same wrong things, you're going to make it to 100%. You catch my feel here? So if you follow through on that thinking, you'll be able to track it more frequently. So do this in all your work. Do this in your business. Continually track things based on your plan, based on where you're heading to, and you'll be able to get through and succeed every single time. You'll be able to know how your business or your project is going to be successful with the minimal cost, because now you're only spending 15% of the money, hopefully less, or you're spending 15% of the time, not more. And that's how you can cut your costs, manage your risks, and be successful in your project or your business. So thank you very much. Hope this has been useful for you. Share, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Appreciate it. Cheers.